And we're up for first draw. Wales women versus Scotland women.
For Wales, we've got number 5, Serena Grace. She's gonna have a pretty good draw here.
And Zoe Dixon for Scotland.
Yeah, and Zoe Dixon. But that was a great draw for Wales. I think in this Wales game, we're going to see some of the younger players. Scotland did come up with the ball here. So Wales is actively they're pressuring out on defense and then coming right back there. So they're dropping in. That was a good move there by the Wales defense.
This is not the Wales defense we saw this morning. There's more energy. There's more pressing out. There's more physicality.
Mm-hmm. And they're immediately dropping back in. So they're not getting caught out so far. I know we're only 30 seconds into the game here, but
the mindset, and that's what we were kind of looking at this morning. They were just shepherding and shadowing more than playing directive defense.
Exactly, and a very different clear from that goalie that just took place there. It was a quick clear. It was a long clear. It was accurate, and not to say that the other goalie this morning wasn't as accurate. Turnover, by the way. Scotland just took that off, and they're about to execute, I believe, their cherry pick one-on-one. Yep. But let's see how the goalie works today. How this goalie. Yeah, she's just getting the ball out. She doesn't want it anywhere near her. Not that I blame her.
No, and just this notion of dropping it low, not going for the long, more risky clear. Just drop it low and let your field players bring it up.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of trust there. You got to execute. There's going to be an over and back penalty here. It's going to be Scotland's ball. Well, that's a defensive collision right there. Oh, and a card.
Yeah, we haven't seen many sin bin violations, have we, in the women's game today? I think as people get closer to competition, we're kind of coming out of COVID. Nobody's really at their full fitness and feeling like they've played a lot of lacrosse. So I think people are a little more tentative than they will be. I mean, pre-World Cup, I think it's going to be a lot more physicality.
Absolutely. Shot and a goal from Scotland right there. Good assist as well. Goalie, once again, making that quick clear. And Scotland immediately dropping into defense with the cherry picker. So it's essentially, if Wales wants to, even though they have somebody in the sin bin, when that gets released, if Wales wanted to, they could play a 5v4 if they choose to leave the cherry picker.
Right.
Right now, Scotland's pushing the fast break here. Laura Warren, there she is. And she has the potential to shoot from there if she wants.
She could.
She absolutely could.
She was actually thinking about it, wasn't she?
Oh,
She started to do that crow hop.
She did that stutter step, that crow hop. She thought about it. I'm surprised she didn't let that rip. First couple minutes of the game, she probably was coming out thinking, I'm just going to establish a little bit level of dominance here.
Yeah, Scotland held the ball so they can get some subs on. Now they've got some fresh legs.
Mm-hmm. Scotland is doing a good job of moving the ball. It's different, again, it's different from what we saw earlier. Wales contesting that pass. And the feed here, let's see. We're very close to a conversion right there from number 3.
Well, they're doing a better job of what they, I think, didn't do against England, which is creating space, not allowing Wales to just suck in on defense, to try to draw them out.
Yep, exactly. And there it is. There's the goal from the draw and dump. What you just said, it is exactly what they just did. She forced the defender to draw up to her, leaving that draw and dump opportunity right on top of the goalie. Number 11 here for Wales, shooting the ball a little bit wide. Rhiannon Price. Get a nice opportunity here for Scotland. Scotland's up 3-0 against Wales. 4 minutes left in the first, so Scotland could go on a short little run here.
Well, I think they're probably a bit hungry after that last performance against England. They won't be happy with that. It wasn't up to their standard, and so I think they're looking to show they can do better, and they can do better.
And it's going to be a turnover from Scotland. Laura Warren with the ball here. Going to pass it back and see if they can't do a quick field switch. Again, Wales doing a good job keeping the pressure going and keeping the pace. Right, that's something that we weren't sure whether or not we were going to see it with the pace at the last game of the day here, and we'll see. We'll see if they keep it up for all 4 quarters.
It's a good defensive 1v1 there. Well, more a slide really from Chloe, who stepped into the space that Laura Warren was trying to drive into. It's hard to do that without fouling.
Drawing the foul,
but you have to get there first, and not every referee sees you get there first. And so she did a good job of getting there, planting her feet, taking the hit. And there was no foul called either way because it wasn't a violent collision, unlike that one.
Well, I mean, Scotland is really having a good defensive game here in this first quarter, a good defensive quarter. And Wales is really going to have to come up with something. They're going to have to move the ball a little bit quicker and come up with something tactically to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net here.
Yeah, when they were effective earlier, it was kind of off of Laura Warren penetrating and then creating opportunities for others. Not that she can't score herself, but they know it's Laura Warren, and so they're just collapsing in on her.
Exactly. And Laura Warren draws a crowd, 2 or 3 players. Here we go with the turnover. Scotland, it's going to be a 2-on-2. Yeah, and nice. Laura Warren with the back check just to slow that down.
Yeah, that was a nice check and steal from Suze Oliphant, who has the ball now.
Scotland had a quick opportunity if they had been able to convert with an open net here, but now it's going to be Wales's ball. Minute 45 left in the first.
3-0 Scotland to Wales.
And it's interesting because Wales right now is having the defender sit in the back, but there's no cherry pick.
Yeah.
So
I am noticing, and I think you alluded to it before, just Scotland seems more switched on defense.
Yep.
They really are energetic and communicating and confident, and the things you get when you've had a day to work out all the bugs in the system.
All the bugs, yeah,
yep.
The little kinks. Smooth everything out.
Nothing makes you better than reps, and they've had a lot of reps today.
For better or for worse, right?
Right.
And every team has gotten to see the ball. And that's the other side of what you were mentioning earlier, is being able to carry those 20 players is allowing everybody to get playing time in this new format. You're seeing a lot of up and back, though. I've seen Wales really starting to move the subs. Scotland is just now starting to pull some subs and move them around. So I'm wondering how that's going to change the last game of the day as we go into the third and fourth quarter today. Good save by the Wales goalie here.
I think for both sides, the finishing just hasn't been the strongest. I mean, Scotland is creating so many opportunities for themselves. I think just a little more on the finishes, and they're going to really run away with this. There's so much talent on this Scotland team because you've got the experienced players who've been to multiple world championships, and then you've got some bright young players that have just come up from the juniors program who are really impressing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And by the way, that shot right there was in the Wales shot. It is the end of the first quarter, but that Wales shot was number 19, Katja Bolter. She had a great move and a great opportunity to really put that in the back of the net. She moved the goalie, had a great fake. So looking to see more of that. If you're the Scotland coach, what are you looking to have now with your team? What kind of conversation are you looking to talk
I'm
to
really
them?
saying that's it, guys. That suddenly looks like Scotland lacrosse, and so keep doing those things. If we get better on the finishes, throw in a good fake, change levels, use your power when it's called for, then we're going to start racking up goals. But don't get off the game plan of good energetic defense, good conservative transitions, because they really got in trouble in that second game versus England of being aggressive on their transitions, and keep playing that possession game. How about for Wales?
I think for Wales it's going to be about making sure that opportunity, right? Where is that opportunity? How do you create it? How do you make that opportunity and close it? Wales is good in defense right now. The score is 3-0 after 8 minutes in the first. So Wales isn't doing anything that I would change in defense. Maybe sticks up a little bit more and try to get on body in that passing lane. But attacking-wise, the passes seem a little flat. They're not moving the ball a lot. There's not a lot. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of communication. So the players seem to be trying to take the ball themselves, with maybe one pass if they're lucky. And I think that could be a decision maker here in this game.
Well, it's almost, the way I feel anyway, it's almost hot enough for hydration breaks, but they get their 2 minutes here at the end of the quarter. So they're about to come back out onto the pitch for the second quarter. It's Scotland 3, Wales 0.
And I think one of the pieces that we should say is the referees have been great today. Really have pretty consistent, good refereeing, good explanation. I don't think that any of the coaches, I haven't seen questions, and that's something to be said for the first time. Some of these referees are really rolling this game out.
Yeah, I had dinner last night. I was mentioning in my live stream with Dave of the men's game earlier. I had dinner last night with 3 umpires. And just to see, I mean, they talk rules all night and the seriousness they bring to it, that they want to enforce a safe game, but they want this game to flow. They don't want to overcall things. They want to let things go when it makes sense.
Exactly, and that was to start the quarter here. We had a draw, which was in Wales' possession, and then had a turnover into Scotland possession. Oh, we've got a knockdown on the pass, which was an opportunity. They did have an open goal there.
Sally Taylor cleaned that up for Scotland.
And this is kind of what I was afraid of. Could it get sloppy?
Well, I think you raise a really good point. What happens when players get fatigued? They stop using their feet. What do they have left? Their stick. And so you start to see more of the stick kinds of fouls when heavy legs take over. This is the third game on a hot day for players that haven't played a lot in the last year and a half.
Now, what you just saw, a great save by the Wales goalie, and right there. Sorry, great save by the Scotland goalie, and then great save by the Wales goalie. But you saw one of the players duck, and that's an interesting piece to the Sixes game, is that there is no shooting space. There's shooting space in 10s, but there is no shooting space in 6s. David, you want to just give a quick explanation of that as a Scotland player gets a 2-on-1 right into converting it into a goal.
Zoe Dixon to Chloe Carruthers. Glad to talk about that. So, shooting space no longer exists in the game, and so instead, a defender is allowed to stand in front of a shooting attacker, and the compulsion is for the shooting attacker to not hit her with the shot. If she does hit her above the knee, it's an immediate red card. She's sent off for the entire match. So the penalty for that is very high. However, if you see a little sliver of net and you want to take it, you're going to take that shot, and sometimes that can be a little close for comfort, and you'll see defenders cower and hide their head, and so
exactly. And what, by the way, what just occurred was a shooting clock violation, so now it will be Scotland's ball. But no, I completely agree. It could be a little close for comfort, so you're going to see some of those players just duck, put their head down, stick up, and hope for the best.
Hope for the best, yeah.
So Scotland's kind of decided that they're going to slow it down a little bit, and then she tried to one-on-one the drive there and was not able to convert. But
yeah, back to not a lot of fakery on the finish. But let's name check Izzy Seeley, the Welsh goalie, who she's putting the stops on these. So I think she's having a game for herself. Despite the fact that Scotland are up, she's made enough saves that she's prevented this from being a runaway.
Oh, absolutely. You could tell she's talking. You can hear her talking, communicating. And she's really allowing the defense to not have to double check and figure out where they are. When you communicate like that and you control the level of the game, a couple things happen. Your tone is going to dictate everybody's panic, first and foremost. So if you're panicked as a goalie and you give that panic off, your defense is going to sound. They're going to react in a very panicked situation. The more calm you are, the more controlled you are as a goalie, the better that your defense is going to be able to support you.
Yes, indeed.
So it's Wales' ball right here, and I'd really like to see Wales convert. Laura tried right there. And
it was a tough feed, and she made something of it.
Yep, and again with a cherry pick up. Yep, cherry pick right there for number 13 for Scotland.
To the extent this is going to be a tactical reality of Sixes, where a team might put a cherry picker up there, teams need to kind of figure it out. They need to figure out what they're going to do.
Absolutely, and I think that I think that's something that you're going to end up having to probably adjust and plan properly for. Here we go, Wales with the goalie out of the cage, trying to get that ball away from her and up the field. Couple of checks occurring as the ball moves up the field.
It's that kind of check where you hear it and you think it's a violent check, but it isn't. That's actually good, clean checking with a little bit of intensity to it. That's good stuff.
If you see the player's stick kind of come up and right off the check, that was an interception by Laura Warren there, number 10 for Wales. If you see that stick come up, it's supposed to go down and come right back up off the stick. Anything else, it has the potential. It could be on body, it could be a held check. So you really want to get a good, clean check because you can pop the ball out very quickly.
I'd like to see Scotland maybe try to create a little width here. Trying to not let Wales suck in quite so much on this, what appears to be sort of a box and one zone. No, there's no one. It's more just a zone.
It is. It definitely looks like a zone. There's, let's see here, there's about 3 minutes left in the second before halftime here. It's 5-0. Scotland 5, Wales 0. And Wales is going to push the ball up the high side of the field here. Long pass.
Scotland is certainly doing what they need to do on defense, and I noted right from the beginning they're energized, they're communicating, they're in sync with each other.
There it is.
And it's the commentator's jinx. Laura Warren found a gap in the defense there, but what a terrific power shot, yeah. Yeah,
it looked at least 9-10 meters out. She just decided she was going to put that in and rip that shot there. So Wales is really sitting in this zone, trying to make it work for them. There's a couple of opportunities that they might be able to tighten up a little bit, but if it does work and they can make a comeback here from 5-1, it's going to be a tough transition for Scotland, I think.
Just want to check that great goal by Jenny Eaton just then. She is a traditional crease attacker and did one of her classic moves coming up from the crease. We're going to see it less in the sixes format, but there it was.
And Serena Grace right there on Wales decided she took a one-on-one and was able to find the back of the net as well. So it looks like we might start to see a couple of scoring drives come together.
Oh, a nice power shot from Zoe Dixon.
So now,
what I like about that shot was she kind of invited the contact. She wasn't afraid to receive some contact in there. There was nothing illegal about the contact, but she did get bumped right as she shot, and she said, "That's fine. My shooting hands are free, and I'm just going to put it in the back of the net."
I'll still take the shot. Let's see if Wales answers. Number 5 here for Wales, Serena Grace, making the pass off to number 7, Ella David.
About a minute left in the first half. Worm burner there.
She probably had a little bit of room to take a couple of steps in and then take that same shot, and she might have been able to convert. So I think we were talking about some of the younger players earlier, right? The more the younger players take some of these, some of the knowledge from some of the more experienced players, I think that's how we're going to see the game clean up a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I think that shot is maybe an example of something that I was seeing earlier today, which is that I think all these teams have been training to take longer shots because when the shot clock is winding down, you've got to take that long power shot. And so then when they get the ball in that zone, they think, oh, here's the long power shot, rather than if I go in, I'll actually give myself a higher percentage look. So I think, again, this will come with more exposure to the game. It's a good save from Emma Walk up there from Laura Warren.
About 8 seconds left here in the second. Making that really long throw, trying to see, and there's the half.
So we have Scotland 7, Wales 2. Concluding the first half of the last match here at the Home Nation Sixes tournament in Edinburgh, Scotland. My name's Dave Simpson. I'm with Jana Kaufman. We're both former national team head coaches who love to talk lacrosse. So let's talk some lacrosse, Jana. Maybe we won't have time at the end, so maybe we could recap the weekend a little bit, just in terms of the tournament and, as a demo, as a showcase, what the takeaways are for. It's too broad a question suddenly. It's like world lacrosse and spectators and players and coaches.
You went very wide.
And umpires, so explain it all to us.
You took a wide shot there.
I did.
I think one of the things from the weekend, obviously, this is the Home Nations tournament for sixes. So it's England, it's Wales, it's Scotland, and what you're seeing are a couple of things. You're seeing some rivalries, some deep-seated rivalries from some teams. You're seeing players that have played with each other or against each other for a number of years, and you're also seeing a number of players that have the potential to play with each other at the World Games in Birmingham. So there's players that coaches know about, that they have experience coaching, that they have experience playing with. But this is an opportunity here for the first time for them to play in this format for these different nations, to really work and against each other and with each other and watch each other and see how and what the start of execution and strategy and every piece of the game starts to look like.
So as I'm sort of picturing that a certain number of our viewer base will be players and coaches from countries that will be going to World Championships, going to European Championships or the regional championships, and what they are seeing. What do you think a coach for a country like that would take away from this weekend and go, oh, I get it. That's how we need to prepare.
I think for me, from a strategy perspective, I would really start to say what worked well, right? I try not to look at what didn't work. I want to piece together a bunch of pieces and say what worked well, how did that work well, and what did they do to make that work well for them. So one of the pieces could be cherry picking, and I know a lot of teams have talked about that, and we've all talked that that's a potential. We've seen some zone defense. We've seen backers. We've seen woman-to-woman, player-to-player defense. We've seen goalies coming all the way out to the 50 or to the midfield to take interceptions.
High pressure on transition,
Yep.
Low pressure on transition.
Exactly. We've seen. We haven't seen a lot of behind the cage movement. Or we've seen maybe some players going through X, but we've also seen from the corners and from the angles, we've seen drives from the top. We've seen a couple of drawn dumps. So I think it's going to be piecing together what some of these teams did really, really well and what worked. So if you look at all these different goal scoring opportunities, or even all the goals that have been scored, and you look at that, I would say probably take a look at what caused that, and then work on that and try to emulate that.
Well, I mean, this is the opportunity to see the elite players in the world playing this format. England, Scotland, Wales on the women's side are all top 8 teams. England number 3, Scotland number 5, Wales, I think 8 or 7.
I think 7 or 8.
7 or 8. It's got to be 7. It's 7. Sorry, Wales. And so, so anybody who's watching this is seeing, like, how do the top players deal with this? Now, one of my roles here in Scotland is development, and so, from a development perspective, you won't expect this kind of performance. It would be different takeaways. The different takeaways would be more along the number of touches that players get, and the rotation of your bench, and everybody gets to play because your best players are saying, please take me off because I'm exhausted.
And you bring up an interesting point here. It becomes, what type of player can play this game, and what does the future of that player look like? And that's going to be a question that's definitely answered in the next coming months here.
Do you start with every young lacrosse player and train them as a midi? With this as a possibility that they can go on and play.
You train them all as a goalie midi.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, first draw for the second half. Scotland 7, Wales 2. Bit of a delay.
So I'd really like to see Wales come out here and come out strong. I think that they probably could, if they peel together about 2 goals or 3 goals in a row, they could shift this.
They've so improved over the day. I mean, we predicted they would because they were a young team. They seemed to slightly have the jitters early on. Now they're playing with a little more confidence. They're just not quite there yet because they're quite young, and Scotland's a strong team. But I think, if I was Matt Hill, their coach, was it Matt Hill?
Matt Sharp.
Matt Sharp, sorry. If Matt Sharp is anything like me, I think he would celebrate those takeaways. Hey, guys, we got better today. And then from Scotland's point of view, I think it's the same. I mean, they're performing at a higher level because they're more experienced, but they have improved.
That was a shot right there, by the way, by Jenny Ayton of Scotland, which was saved by the Wales goalie, which resulted in a goal.
Cherry pick goal.
Yeah, cherry picked a goal all the way down for Wales. So we'll see if they can put one or two more on there. So it's 7-3 now.
And Scotland has left an attacker, so to speak, back with a Welsh player who's cherry picking. So you move a chess piece, and the other coach moves their chess piece.
As long as nobody topples. We're all just pawns, right? Oh, what a goal. What a goal right there. Number 8, Emily Hook. That was a great goal. She had a good spin move, a good dodge right there.
So that's 7-4, 7 to Scotland, 4 to Wales.
And 2 in a row, however, for Wales, which is hard to get. I think past 2. I think anything past 2 in a row is a really difficult string of goals to put together in this format.
Scotland seems a little logy right now. This might be an opportunity for a timeout soon, just like, hey, let's get a quick reset here.
Mm-hmm. And it's a turnover, too.
Yeah.
Maybe they wait till the next possession and then call it, especially after a goal. If Wales scores.
Yeah, that's you got to try to stop that momentum.
Yep. Well, Laura certainly saw that all the way. Laura Warren to number 5, Serena Grace. Looking for the cherry pick. They just got 3 in a row. Let's see what happens here with Scotland.
Yeah, just slightly out of sync at the minute. And Wales seem energized, and
Wales is going to push this ball. Let's see if they'll put forward. No, and a turnover in the midfield here. Scotland just picked that right out of the air.
It's that risk-reward thing, isn't it? When you push hard, then some percentage of those are going to get picked.
Exactly. We've got number 19 right here.
Ooh, that was an over and back, but I'm not an umpire.
Maybe she didn't have possession, and that's
fair point. Fair point.
No, that was right out of her stick right there for number 5, Serena Grace.
Zoe Dixon.
With the legs in the third quarter here. Look at the speed. Great save. I mean, she's really making an effort. She's keeping them in this game right now. 7-5.
Yeah, Izzy Zealy. Nice stick save there.
All right, Serena Grace picking this up, and let's see what Wales does. Wales really could. They could make it a 7-6 game right here.
Well, they're playing with confidence now. The ball's zipping. They're trusting their teammates.
Absolutely.
Good movement off ball. Oh, good close there by Scotland to
great slide.
To deny.
You could tell right there what you were seeing is Serena Grace was trying to tell somebody where to go. It looks like she wanted a little bit more control over that situation and was trying to take that a little bit tighter.
That was an interesting transition because there were 3 Scotland players who were certainly leading the break and a couple that were lagging behind a bit, and the same was true of the Welsh players. So I think those who have played 3 games today are truly feeling it in their legs, and you don't blame them.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, what a conversion. What a conversion. Number 23, Annabelle Noble. What a comeback, though.
6 goals to Wales, 7 to Scotland.
3 or 4 in a row.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Very difficult to do, again, in this format. So we'll see how Wales, if they go for this tie right here, if they go for that 7th goal, I think it's going to be an interesting turn of events.
No, it's hard to come back in this format because in 10s, after every goal there's a draw, which is essentially 50-50 ball. So you have a chance to get 3 goals in a row very quickly, say. But in this format, you score a goal, you've given the ball to the other team. So it's harder anyway to make a comeback in the way that Wales just did.
And that was a goal for number 10 for Scotland right there.
A little traditional crease play there, but more dynamic in the way that we were talking about. It is really less standing and feeding. It's more really just swinging through that area, mostly because you can't really hang out back there because you've got to play defense if there's a turnover. Absolutely,
and I think what you're going to see is that the crease and the ball behind is going to adjust from 10s to 6s. It's not going to be the same, but I think it's going to be different. Somebody's going to need to find a way to take advantage of the space and how to move the defense. You got to get that head turn, which we haven't seen.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. I think maybe people thought, oh, well, we're not going to do crease attacking because it doesn't fit this format. I think if you're smart about it, I think there's a way to do it.
Yeah, you don't want to tie up a player. So you're going to have to make sure you're watching that carefully.
And also you want to be changing attack angles, and there's no better place to do it than swinging it behind.
Seven, 6 seconds, 5. The shot clock is almost about to burn.
She knew it too. Tried to turn the corner and was able to duck inside, but ran out of clock.
There's going to be a call here, though. It was a held for possession. So that's going to reset the clock. She's going to the bin. A minute and a half left in the third quarter here. It is 8
right.
Scotland, 6 Wales.
Zoe Dixon on the break, man down. Man down score's got to feel good for Scotland, who've really been on the wrong end of a run here. Now they have a chance to sort of get a run and get some momentum back in the game.
Let's see how Wales answers this. They should be trying to just go. There's Laura Warren, who's doing exactly what she is trying to do.
What she does.
Yep.
If I read that right, it looked like Scotland was doing a box zone that kind of got out of shape.
A little bit. It looked like it.
Yeah. There was one of the players was trying to correct her teammate, like to get her position properly. Oh, nice by Jenny Eaton there. Here's a battle between two elite players. Nice goal from Jenny Eaton. Terrific.
And you can also see the experience of both of those players starting to take shape and even directing where the players move and how they move.
Just 15 seconds left, actually down to 10 seconds left here in the third quarter. Jenny Eaton with the ball. She may not be aware of the time left in the clock.
Doesn't
4
look
seconds.
Like and a goalie save.
Yeah,
great save.
And that'll end the quarter. Wow, some real swings in that quarter. Scotland 10, Wales 7.
Let's see here. We've got the last quarter coming up for the game, and I think if you were Wales, if you're talking to your team right now, if you're Matt Sharp, what are you saying?
Well, I think they broke the code. They figured out how to play this format. And I think some of the younger players switched on to, oh, I get it. I need to be more physical, and I need to move quicker off ball, and I need to be confident in my passing and my catching. So I think that's what they are going to come out of this weekend feeling. And Scotland just slightly switched off in moments. And I think I think a timeout would have helped. I think some momentum management there might have been good. But perhaps they're looking to kind of get their players reps. And keep the game rolling. All right, so coming into the final quarter here, this is the Home Nation Sixes tournament in Edinburgh, Scotland. It's brought to us by World Lacrosse and delivered by Lacrosse Scotland. It's a 2-day tournament-ish, in that today is the competition portion of it. On paper, there's 3 points awarded to the winner and 1 point awarded to the two who tie, if there is a tie. However, they total up the points and then nothing happens.
It's not that nothing happens. You get bragging rights.
You get bragging. No, that's serious bragging rights. But why do we need points then?
Well, for bragging rights.
So, and then tomorrow, all these teams will be back to play on these pitches. None of it will be filmed, other than for the team's own purposes. And they're considered more friendlies. In other words, these are the teams able to come out and be more experimental, perhaps, in their tactics. So this wraps up the first day. England women have won the women's side of it. They've undefeated moving through.
And this is going to be a good game here to finish off the day. I think it's a good example of a good, close, tight played game.
Yeah. I think both teams would want to finish feeling like they were in sync. And I think
accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. That hey, we can point to our takeaways of the weekend. Hey, we got better at all these things.
Let's see what they're doing here. Okay, here we go. It's going to be Scotland's ball. Number 5, Charlie Bergquist.
Oh, not Charlie. I know. There were some number changes.
Oh, they changed some numbers. Yep. Okay. That sounds about right. Nobody telling us. How did you know about them? They tweeted at you? Yeah.
There were changes. Put it that way. Yeah.
There were changes.
Again, Wales exhibiting a confidence they did not have this morning.
No, not even in the first quarter. So it's going to be just a quick look into how Laura wanted that shot. It's going to be a quick look into how this transition again, that cherry picker just seems to really be working for Wales. Oh!
Unlucky for Izzy Zealy. She made the save, but this it dropped and spun in. But credit to Laura Warren for busting back. And again, didn't get the check on, but caused Jenny Ayton to alter her shot wherein she had to go high to high, and which is obviously a much easier save for the goalie.
So we've got Wales down here with the ball in the fourth quarter. 6.5 minutes left. Scotland 11, Wales 7. And there's that no-angle shot. Serena Grace really she likes that no-angle shot.
She's been impressive this weekend. First of all, she's shown very good speed. She's had some effectiveness on the draw. And then she's a finisher. She gets in there and scores some goals.
That was a shot right there. Hit post. As a goalie, when it hits post, I always said I had it covered.
Yeah, right. The goalie was part of my strategy, or the post was part of my strategy.
Exactly. And I always would tap the post and say I had it covered. I think, that's something that's probably passed on from goalie to goalie.
Well, 6 minutes remaining. It's Scotland 11, Wales 8. And Wales is, traditionally a team that does have these momentum runs, that they can sneak up and get 4 goals on you and 5 goals. It's happened to me, having coached against Wales through the years. So, however, Scotland has a bunch of goals left in them. I think they're going to be looking to convert here and get some good possessions. Get the ball in the back of the net.
And here's Scotland. Scotland's going to try and see what they can do. Do you think that there's any tactical conversation right now on the Scotland side saying, hey, there's 5.5 minutes left, we're up, and what are we going to do with the ball? How are we going to control this? Are we going to take all of every 30 seconds we get?
I don't think so. I think if this was a major tournament with the, world ranking at stake, I definitely would see them doing that. But again, this is effectively a second-place match out of 3 teams with nothing to walk away with. So I think more just getting quality reps for your team. I would say just stick with the game plan, guys. We're trying to put it in the back of the net.
Absolutely. So it looks like Wales is taking a timeout here. They're probably going to have a conversation saying what?
We're man up. We're man up. What are we going to do with that? We've got a young team here that may not know where the opportunities lie with man up. I think it was Jenny Ayton sent to the sin bin. I didn't quite. Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. And so this represents a good opportunity for them. So I think it's probably a well-chosen timeout. So let's have a chat here and just remember, keep the ball hot. First of all, keep the ball moving. That's how you break down. When you're man up. And then remember, it's a zone, so the traditional zone breaking kinds of strategies, overloading quadrants, etc.
Exactly, and I'd probably remind them just briefly that it's a 3-goal differential right now, and they just went on a 4-goal sprint essentially. Mm-hmm. So this is completely within reach for them with the next 4 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Wales starts with possession. Laura Warren from the midfield line.
Look at that! If she rips it from that far out, I'm gonna be impressed. They all know she wants to as well.
Yeah. And by selling it, maybe somebody does a slide they wouldn't have done otherwise, and it creates the opportunity. So. Yeah. And, nice save from Emma Walk up there. Nice,
great save. The thing is, I wonder if she's thinking that she might get a shooting space call,
Hmm.
which unfortunately does not exist anymore in 6's format.
I'm trying to remember if Emma Walkup has had a busted clear in this match. I'm not sure that she has. Been much more conservative than earlier in the day in terms of just delivering it to your field player, letting them do what they do.
Staying with the low pass, not trying to rip. Oh, there was a great shot.
Nice from Zoe Dixon there. I know she's been working really hard on her finishing, and it shows there.
Mm-hmm. But no, she keeping with the goalies, the low clears, not trying to push the 60-yarder as often as they had been in the first couple of games, and probably realizing, right, like you're exhausting your players by pulling that.
Well, about 3.5 minutes left, and I think Scotland is probably doing what they want to do here, just finish with a little sink, you know, and I think Wales are going to want to finish with a couple goals too.
Great save.
What a game for Izzy. We got a cherry picker. This is Katja Bolton.
Oh, did she just do it behind the back?
Nice finish.
What a finish there.
Love to see that creativity in the game.
I don't know, but she looks like she kind of surprised herself with that too.
Like I've done it on the training pitch, but I haven't quite done it in a game before.
Yeah. Almost like, look what I did. We'll remind her of that later, of the time that she did that, so she'll be fine.
Claire Carruthers got stood up by a Welsh defender there. Wales in transition, man up.
And
Katja Bolton again.
Again, with the assist from Laura Warren. Getting right back in this game.
Yeah. 12-10, I believe. Yes, 12-10 to Scotland with 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining.
Shot goes wide.
So
the shot selection now is where it's going to be most important, right? If you're creating these turnovers and these opportunities for Wales to take advantage of, it very quickly could become a tie game.
I feel so strongly that in sixes, the quality of your shots is going to dictate your success. I think it's too easy to take a poor angle shot, a shot that's too far away. That's a given. You're going to be able to take that shot, but it's not the best idea. To be able to play 2-man and 3-man games and create opportunities that result in high percentage shots, like that one. So nice little feed into the post there.
And it is now 12-11.
12-11, minute 50 remaining. Timeout to Scotland, I'm certain.
Yes.
Without even looking up,
yes,
I know that's a Scotland timeout.
That is definitely a Scotland timeout. They're going to want to say, let's talk about shot selection at this point. From a Scotland coach, What is she saying?
Well, I think just that. I think Wales is a momentum team, and so they've risen to a new level. So now Scotland needs to rise to a new level, emotionally, physically. We've got to bring back the energy. Probably she's making difficult tactical decisions around, my best players I've been playing all day and they've got dead legs, and I've got younger, fresher legs here but less experienced.
And a minute and a half left, minute 45 left. What do I do here?
For Scotland. For Scotland, I think I'm looking every player in the eye. It's like,
do you have it or do you not?
What's in the tank,
Yep.
And I'm not asking them. I can see it in the eyes. And so just kind of taking a scan of the pitch here. So it's a mix of younger and older players, I'd say.
With the cherry pick sitting back there.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think she was on the wrong end.
Oh no, she's marking Katja Bolton there. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go, Laura Warren. She's gonna put this in with an assist. Oh, there it is.
Wow, for the tie.
There it is to Katja Bolton.
It's a minute 30.
And we have a game here.
Now, does Scotland take another timeout, or do they just let this roll?
I'd give it another 20 seconds. There you go.
I can say it now because it's the end of the broadcast, but one of my favorite players ever to have coached is Jenny Ayton. And it's for reasons like that. She has this way of finishing that you're just not quite sure how she did it. She's just so clever and so compact in her cradling and her shooting.
I have to tell you right now, if I'm Scotland, I'm doubling Laura Warren.
Yeah, face guard's called for. I agree.
100%.
That was a good knockdown from Zoe Dixon there.
Yep.
And there's Jenny Ayton for the cherry pick.
Oh, she had that.
So less than a minute left. And that's 14-12. Scotland to Wales. Wales need to be assertive here.
I'm surprised that
be quick, but don't rush.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
I'm surprised that Laura Warren is sitting so far back. I mean, she's kind of the lead of the attack.
So we don't have the opportunity to talk about this much, but now we've got shot differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Therefore, there's a timeout. I didn't see who called it.
Is it Scotland?
They both have reason to call it because Wales are going to want to talk about how we're going to pressurize the ball here. And then Scotland are going to talk about, if we are going to do a stall strategy, how we're going to do it. There's a shot differential. Let's see if I can suss it out here.
4 seconds.
Yeah, it's 4-second differential. So, they could do the stall, dump it in the corner, and then they've got 4 seconds to bring it up if it's a successful stall. So certainly Wales has to, tactically think about how are we going to respond to that. Or is Scotland going to kind of draw the defenders out, and then now they've got space to attack?
Well, and here's one of the things, though, is you don't have a certain amount of time that you have to get it across the midline there. So you could also utilize, you pretty much have the entire field.
That's right.
I wonder if that's going to be a rule that World Lacrosse looks at, is you have a certain amount of time, like basketball, to get it across, to get it into the attacking position.
So Suze Oliphant is one of the best runners on Scotland and good at possessing the ball. So they've gotten her stick right away. Jenny Ayton, she's very hard to dispossess. So you can see sort of the tactic here. Let's get it to our experienced players.
Here we go. Let's see what
6
Wales
seconds in match play 2, 1. And there it is.
Heartbreak.
14-13, Scotland over Wales.
Heartbreak for Wales.
In the final match of the Home Nation Sixes tournament here in Peppermill Playing Fields, Edinburgh, Scotland. So we don't have much time to say goodbye, Jana. So last thoughts. Jana Kaufman, co-commentator on all the women's matches today. Wrap up your thoughts for the weekend.
I think it was a fantastic weekend. I think we saw good lacrosse. We saw the best part about what happened this weekend is almost nobody knew what they were getting into, and that's something that can be fun and exhilarating. And everybody attacked it with vigor, and they really had great opportunities and really had a great attitude towards saying, I'm going to go do something I don't know how to do. So that was fantastic.
Spot on. I agree. And sort of my wrap-up for the weekend, having sat in on both men's and women's games, so I'm trying to kind of make an umbrella statement for both. This format is for real. I kind of call it the players' format. In other words, it's just fun to play. There are some different skill sets that get emphasized and de-emphasized, and there's a little pushback on that. But the fact is, it's fun to watch, it's fun to play, and I think in terms of a tournament running perspective, it's come off as well, thanks to the tournament organizers, Lorna Powell, Lacrosse Scotland, World Lacrosse have been the sponsors. I want to thank them all for what has been a terrific weekend of lacrosse.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming along, Jana. Well, it's been an incredible weekend of lacrosse. We've got these women's teams who have played 3 sixes matches in one day. And for those who have played sixes, your heart rate gets to absolute max red zone. And then you sub out and it goes down, and then you go out again. And this is very stressful on the bodies for these amazing athletes to have played 3 matches in a day. And for Wales to come off a back-to-back match in that last one and push Scotland to within a goal is very, very impressive. So it's been a terrific weekend. And so now I'm going to send it down to Gav Ritu, who has an interview for us. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Dave Simpson out.